Terry.
And I'm Angel.
And welcome to our weekend chat with a twist, right, babe?
Absolutely. We thought today we would do talk and tapas.
Okay, all right.
So
I like it.
we have a lot of really neat tapas we want to share with you at the end, but we'll have a quick talk first, okay?
Absolutely.
Can't wait to eat.
Me either. It looks yummy.
So today we'd like to talk about being healthy, not only with whole food plant-based eating, but mentally and just inside and feeling good all the time, right, honey?
From your heart, right?
From your heart, absolutely. So what Terry and I have talked about is sometimes when people upset you pretty greatly and you're angry for periods of time, it can really get to you and make you not feel as good as you'd like to feel because you just internalize it, and when you think about it, you're angry, and it's just not healthy. And so we've come up with a solution, or what has worked well for us, right honey?
Exactly.
And on top of our eating, which helps us just feel better to start with, the way we eat just automatically makes us feel better. And when people do silly things or things that may have frustrated you much worse before, we can laugh a little bit more now.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes people can cut you deep, and it's hard to let that go, but you need to. And everybody always says you can forgive, you don't have to forget and all that. But something that Terry and I have worked on is putting the names down on a list of those people that you just can't find a way, and it's just getting to you and it's making you not feel so good. Write those names down and look at yourself in the mirror every day or whatever it takes and go to that name. And if you've decided at that name, don't lie to yourself. Don't look in the mirror and say, I'm okay with this person. You can say stuff like, I'm never gonna like this person, or I'm never gonna be okay with what happened to me.
Right.
And as you do that day after day after day, some days you might say it, especially looking at yourself, I'm never gonna like this person, and you'll giggle, right?
Right, exactly.
You'll giggle. And some days it may flood in other memories and make you cry, and other days it just may make you not feel so good. But we have noticed that if you do that over time, eventually you can get to, I think I'm okay with this.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right?
And it's all part of a holistic, whole food, plant-based way of healing, quite honestly, right? Through food, mentally, physically, and holistically.
Yeah.
So absolutely, babe. Absolutely.
So we want to feel good, and sometimes when you harbor stuff, and I'm not saying you should be superhuman and people can't hurt you. I mean, let's face it, we're human beings, and people upset us.
Exactly.
But when that upsets you so much that you harbor it, it is not good for your health. And then that person that has hurt you is continuing to hurt you and hurt you and hurt you.
Exactly.
So write those names down, even if it's just people you love to death. I mean, just love to death and they frustrated you.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out if I'd have to write Terry on my list. I doubt it. But write those people and just, I love this person. I love myself. And then when you get to somebody, if it's just like, nah, I'm not feeling it today. It's like, I am angry with this person. And somehow it makes you feel a little bit better. So
that's great.
To talk about
That's great. I often heard that, harboring those ill feelings about people, it's almost like touching hot coal. The only person that gets burned, the only person that really hurts is you. So it goes to what you're saying, honey. Just, find a way to not let that frustrate you and upset you and, get to you. Just learn how to love and forgive and the best way you can. Right,
and yeah, absolutely. And learn how to talk about it with somebody you trust. I mean, I trust Terry so much. He trusts me. And we'll talk through things. It's funny, when I'm quiet, Terry, what do you say to me when I'm quiet, honey?
What's wrong, honey? What's
wrong?
And
I'll say, why do you know something's wrong? He's like, because you've been quiet for way too long. So anyhow, and then talking through it and whatever, and every once in a while just, that human touch or, you know, and that hug, it just makes you feel better. So.
And if you don't have anyone to hug yourself.
Oh,
Right?
Absolutely. So feel good. Everything feels good. And now, should we talk about tapas?
Absolutely. I'm ready to dig in, babe. So
Okay.
what'd you make?
Okay, so let's get up because I want to share what we made.
Okay.
And so the first thing that we made is potatoes, sort of with beans and corn and pico. So more like a chip,
Okay.
like a nacho.
Okay.
Potato nacho.
I like it.
This is ceviche. So
God, okay.
whole food plant-based ceviche. So there's no shrimp or fish in here, but this is ceviche. And some extra chips that we made. I did not burn these chips. I actually put a balsamic vinegar on them, a certain kind, and these were just regular chips. All of these recipes we're gonna show you right after this. And we made some little salad skewers, or just really tomato and cucumber with balsamic and oregano. Yummy, yummy. And some delicious bruschetta.
Oh my God.
We made the baguette homemade.
Homemade
This
bread,
is
yeah.
all homemade,
Absolutely.
just delicious. And finally, we have a chicken salad on cucumbers. So we are going to show you how we made all this stuff real quick, lickety split. All the recipes will be there. And this is so fun. Like, Terry and I aren't having guests today, but we're going to have fun. We're going to eat tapas.
Absolutely.
Like we like to do when we, when we go out, and before we were whole food plant-based, we would always order tapas.
Right,
And
exactly.
we love to share because I like to have a little bit of everything.
A variety.
It's so
Yeah, a
fun,
variety,
just like
absolutely.
a variety. And if you look at the tapas that we made today, it really is, as funny as it is, it's the 50-50 plate.
It is.
So if you
It
look
is.
at the bruschetta, you got the whole wheat bread, and you got the veggies on top. This is all veggies. This is veggies with potato. This is just all kinds of veggies, and then the corn chips. And here you go, veggies with chickpeas. So really, this all quantifies the 50-50 plate, so have fun eating it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, let's just eat a little bit, and then
Okay.
we'll share our recipes, okay?
All right. Absolutely.
So let's try. I've got to try the ceviche. I mean, I am starving for that. I
Try the
love
skewers?
it. Oh, skewers. Please, honey, jump in there.
All right.
And then let's try the bruschetta.
Okay.
Did you get everything? Okay, well,
All right.
whatever. I'm eating everything today because I'm so excited.
All right, man.
And I'm just
Try the
gonna pick it up
potatoes
and eat it because this is a snack and Terry's gonna use his fork, so. Salud, honey.
Salud.
Tastes just like a nacho.
Oh my God.
That homemade pico on the top is
That's
divine.
So good.
Divine.
So good.
Listen, my brother-in-law makes the best pico I've ever eaten, but this is a close, very close.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try the ceviche now, honey.
You too.
Look at that. Look at that.
Wow, honey. That's delicious.
Yes! That is so good. How about crispy and refreshing?
So light and healthy. Wow.
Did you try the bruschetta yet? Oh,
I did not.
I only have the bruschetta for myself.
Mm,
You want to try mine?
so good.
I have a garlic spread on the bottom of this. I roasted garlic and spread it right on the bread that I made. Whoa. That has to be one of the best bruschettas I've ever had.
Wow.
Right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Everything here.
You can taste every single ingredient.
That's delicious.
Garlic,
Wow.
tomato, the onion.
Everything
Wow.
here is oil-free, salt-free, sugar-free, nut-free, A lot of the things here are gluten-free except for the bruschetta is not. So if I had, and I usually do, my son's celiac, so I would keep that very separate and very safe. But the rest of this is all gluten-free.
Wow.
And you could do this gluten-free if you made the bread gluten-free.
Second salute.
I mean, salud for real. Here, this is delicious.
Wow. Babe,
I didn't try the chicken salad.
you knocked it out the box on that one. Oh, I didn't get the chicken salad.
So, you've seen Terry and I make chicken salad on one of our videos. We did the same thing here, but we put it on cucumbers just to make it fun.
Oh, wow. So tasty with the cucumber.
Crispy.
So fresh.
This is so fun
Wow.
and delicious. I'm gonna try my own.
That, so good.
What a fun tomato and cucumber salad.
And look, you know, this is so funny. This looks fun. Like that, this looks like fun.
Let me tell you, this is gonna be gone. This is so, I know it sounds funny to say that it's light because we are chowing,
But it is.
but this is so light and
It is.
delicious. I have my extra chips here so I can dip it in my ceviche.
I'll take a few of those.
Oh yeah, these ones are, try the ones that I put balsamic on, and we'll see what we like.
Wow.
They're a little sweet.
A little sweet. Goes real good with the bruschetta and with the ceviche. Wow.
Honey, thank you for helping me make all this. I
You're welcome,
appreciate
babe.
it. Thank you.
This came out perfect. This came out perfect. I hope you guys like it.
Enjoy your friends.
We love it.
Have some tapas, or just have tapas with your sweetie, or heck, if it's just you, honey, have some tapas and go to town. These are perfect. These are balanced, 50-50.
Absolutely.
I'm so impressed with that bruschetta. I don't know where to go
I'm impressed
next.
with everything.
Me too. This has been so fun.
This
I
has
hope
been
you
great.
enjoy it. The recipes are next, so stay tuned. If you love
Absolutely.
what we're doing, we're
Subscribe.
doing it for you guys.
Subscribe.
We are doing all of this for you
Absolutely.
because we really believe
Absolutely.
in this healthy lifestyle. We know what it's done for us.
That's right.
For my sweetie.
That's right.
And just everything it's done for my cholesterol, my weight. Look how I'm eating. This is crazy. This is so wonderful.
Right.
So stay tuned for the recipes. We had some fun making those for you. And have a wonderful weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye. For our bruschetta, we made a homemade wheat baguette. First, we use a scale because when you're making bread, a scale is really important. I put a bowl on top of my scale to put my flour in. And then for this bruschetta, we used whole wheat flour, and all it is whole wheat. And then we used a white whole wheat organic flour, so half and half, 200 grams of each. And then 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast. And 350 grams of warm water. So I just set my scale to the grams, and when I get it to the grams, as shown here, perfect. See? Grams. Then we put a bowl on top, set it back to 0, and then place 200 grams of the wheat flour in there, and then 200 grams of the white whole wheat flour. If you want to make this bread gluten-free, please use any flour of your choice. Also, there's really no way to say how many cups this is because flour all weighs differently. So it's always best to use a scale. You can buy these scales anywhere, and they're quite inexpensive. Most of the flours that I make, I do use about 75% saturation with the water. However, when I'm using a lot of whole wheat flour like I did here, I do like to use a little bit more because wheat sucks up the water and can make the bread harder and denser. So I reset my scale to 0, and for this 400 grams of flour, I used 350 grams of water, which is a pretty good amount of saturation. And it really, really, really made a nice baguette. Once I got my 350 grams of warm water in the bowl, I mixed really nicely, and all you have to do is use a fork. You don't even have to put your hand in the bowl to get to where you need to be. So it makes a really nice bread. As you can see, the dough is really light and fluffy, and I had to put my hand in it because that's just what I do. And then I made a nice ball. Really, really simply. You can see as I'm pulling it together how soft and moist it is. It feels wet, but it's okay. You see it's moving around the bowl pretty easily, and made a really, really nice ball. And smelled pretty amazing too. Then what I did is I covered it lightly with plastic wrap in order to avoid having any crust on top of the loaf of bread. It's nice and light, and then I just simply cover it with a kitchen towel, leave it on the counter for 4 hours, at minimum 4 hours. And if you have to go over 5 or 6 or 7 hours, no worries there. But for me, 4 hours is the minimum, and that's usually when I check it. Nice loaf of bread. As you can see, after 4 hours, it was nice and bubbly and pretty. The saran wrap is on top to avoid any crusting, like I said. It pulls off nicely, no oil, and it's really quite simple. And when you do that, it just smells so fresh and delicious. What I did is I just sprinkled a little bit of my whole wheat flour on the counter so the bread wouldn't stick as I formed the baguette. And then I just slowly put my hand in the bowl and pulled the dough away from the sides of the bowl. Very simply. You don't have to worry about being too rough or not. Just pull it apart. If you feel like it's sticking, dip your fingers in a little bit of water. That works well too. But for me, I just had a clean, dry hand, put it on the floured surface, roll the dough into the shape that you want. For this, because we were making bruschetta, I made a baguette. And then I just picked it up. I put it on a parchment lined cookie sheet. As you can see, very, very nice and very, very simple. And just forming it to make sure it's good. Then I took a knife and scored the top because the bread will tend to rip wherever it wants to. So score the top just like a baguette. Then I simply placed this one in a 425-degree oven for 20 minutes. And boy, did it come out nicely. While that was baking, I made the bruschetta. I used 3 Roma tomatoes, which I just chopped pretty finely, so whatever you like. I really like the Roma tomatoes for the bruschetta. They make such a nice sort of Italian flavored tomato. You can't go wrong with tomatoes. They're really, really great. And then you smell the bread baking at the same time, so it's really a fun time doing this, and it's quite simple. Once I got my tomatoes chopped, I added the onion and the garlic powder, as you can see, and I also added the basil. Fresh basil is absolutely delicious. You just take it, you roll the basil. So for me, I use anywhere from 8 to 12 fresh leaves of basil. You just roll them up, sort of the way I'm showing you here, and then you chop them almost julienne, and then you put them in the bowl. And it's so fragrant and delicious. I mean, you just can't top that fresh basil going together. Like I said, that's about a half an onion chopped. You could use whatever kind of onion you want. That was a sweet Vidalia. And then I used 1 teaspoon of garlic powder because, as you know, Terry and I love our garlic. Then I just mixed it all together really, really simply. Nice. And then what I did with this one, you could use any balsamic of your choice, but I use this tomato and basil, which I get from Olive and Grape. And remember, like I told you, if you put Angel in the coupon code online, you'll get 15% off. While Terry and I are not affiliated with them, we really, really appreciate them giving a discount to you. I cover the bruschetta and put it in the fridge for 20-30 minutes. Of course, I add black pepper because Terry loves black pepper. And it's just fragrant and delicious. Enjoy. Look at that bread when it came out of the oven. It was warm and delicious. Let it sit for about 20 minutes or it will get gooey inside when you cut it. So after it sits for about 20 minutes, and 20 minutes at the shortest, you can let it sit as long as you like. Then I slice it and I put it on a parchment lined cookie sheet and lay them out so that I can make toast out of them. If you do not plan on toasting your baguette like I did, you can bake the bread for 25 minutes. If not, bake the bread on 425 for 20 minutes, then toast. But like I said, if you don't toast, bake it for 25 minutes. Then I had 3 fresh bulbs of garlic that I roasted. I simply squeezed them into this bowl and I made a paste out of it. So that's nothing but garlic into a paste, sweet and delicious. I rubbed the garlic paste on top of the little toast, homemade fresh wheat toast baguettes, and wow, it was just delicious with that bruschetta on top. So once I got done spreading on the paste, look at that, and you should have smelled it. Wow! We had our fresh bruschetta that we just took out of the fridge. Like I said, it was probably in there for half hour or so. And then I just put the bruschetta right on top of the garlic paste and couldn't wait to taste it. When I got done filling each one of the baguettes up, then I took a fresh little piece of the fresh basil and I just ripped off a little piece. You could put the whole leaf if you want, but it really was for decoration because there was a delicious amount of basil inside of the bruschetta already. Aren't they gorgeous? And boy, did they taste good. You don't have to put balsamic glaze on the top, but I thought, you know what, this might be delicious. So I sprinkled a little bit of the tomato, basil, vinegar on top. Again, you don't need it, or you could just use regular balsamic, which is also absolutely delicious on bruschetta. That was crunchy and magnificent. Terry and I then made crispy potato nachos. These potatoes I had made the day before for a meal that we had in the evening. So I just took the baked potatoes. Sometimes I steam them in my Instant Pot, but that evening, the night before, I had baked them. I sliced them into coins, and then I placed them on my roaster basket. I actually air fried these in my air fryer for 20 minutes
on 400 degrees, and I flipped them halfway through. I love this salt-free Mrs. Dash's taco seasoning. You could use it on fries or what have you. And I just used a certain amount, and then I usually have leftover that I can use on other things if I want to use it on beans or taco salads or anything. It's just a really nice go-to seasoning and really simple to use. So I sprinkled those. I had plenty left over, see? And I just keep it for later. So, like I said, air fryer, 420 degrees, 10 minutes on one side. Terry flipped them over for me and 10 minutes on the other. While they were cooking, I made a pico. I used 4 Roma tomatoes that I sliced, just like I sliced for the bruschetta. So for the pico, you just put the tomatoes in the bowl. And like I've told you before, my brother-in-law makes the best pico. When he comes to visit me, I will have him come to the show and show you how he makes his delicious pico. And there's those fresh tomatoes. I used onion. Use the onion to your choice. That's probably about a half of an onion. But to your taste, really. Then I used a lot of fresh cilantro, or what I call a lot, is about a half a cup. So there's my fresh cilantro, very fragrant. And I like to chop the leaves up a little bit so that everything is just about the same size. That's how I like my pico. Everything, the tomato, the onion, the cilantro, just kind of the same bite-size pieces, makes it really nice. And then I use limes. For this amount, I used 2 fresh limes. Again, you can use lime to taste. If you don't like lime, use lemon, but lime is really that flavor that you're looking for when you're making the pico. But like I said, to taste. For Terry and I, 2 limes was perfect. Then I used my fresh pickled jalapenos diced in the jar because I love the pickle juice that's in there. In fact, I wish they would sell that separately. But as you can see, I used 3 heaping teaspoons and then a lot of the juice. And then, of course, fresh black pepper because Terry loves it. I mixed it up and it was just as simple as that. Keep it in the fridge for a little while until you're ready to eat it. Everything is always better if you just let it sit for a short time, 20 to 30 minutes in the refrigerator. While my potatoes were roasting and the pico was sitting, I just put some frozen roast corn in the microwave with, of course, my pickled jalapenos, my go-to, about 2 generous teaspoons and some juice. Mix it up. It does something wonderful to the corn. You could always use regular frozen corn too, but I do like the frozen corn because it doesn't have salt in it. And that roast corn is delicious. I also, for this recipe, decided to use fat-free refried beans. Nothing hard about this. Open the can, put them in the bowl, microwave them along with the corn for 4 minutes. It's just as simple as that. Look at those air-fried corn potatoes. They are delicious. So those are the nachos. For this, I just didn't use corn tortillas. So I just spread a little bit of the refried beans to taste and the corn, and then I put the pico on top. And look how pretty they are. And let me tell you, what a hearty nacho that was, and really balanced with the potato and the corn and the beans and the pico. You gotta try this one, guys. You're gonna love them. Aren't they pretty? Now I'm just gonna make a tomato and cucumber skewer. So I've made tomato and cucumber salads for you guys before. This is really no different, but since Terry and I decided we were gonna have tapas, we were trying to have fun. So I had little skewers in my drawer, and I just put tomato and a cucumber, tomato and a cucumber, tomato and a cucumber. You get it. You could also put onion on there. That would be delicious. And just like I've done with my other tomato and cucumber salads, I put oregano on the top. If you don't enjoy oregano, don't use it. It's just that simple. Use any type of balsamic vinegar that you like. Again, we don't use salt or oil. So for this one, I used the white caramelized onion because I really like it. But then I couldn't decide, well, what about the tomato and basil? Wouldn't that be delicious? So you know what I did? I didn't have to choose. For 3 of them, I used the white caramelized onion. And for the other 3, I used the tomato and basil. So then my dilemma was solved, and I had both. And when Terry and I tried them, we absolutely love them. Again, if you don't have these balsamics, use whatever you like. But it's a great alternative when you don't use salt on your food. Aren't they gorgeous? Now we make the chicken salad. So 2 to 3 celery stalks sliced. So for this one, I really wanted something crispy because I was going to put these on top of cucumbers. So the more crisp, the better. So 3 celery stalks diced, just that simple. I was making this pretty quickly, so what I didn't do is take my chickpeas and put them in there first. I would recommend putting your chickpeas in there first, mashing them up with a fork a little bit, and then doing what I'm doing here. That's about 1/4 of a diced onion. And then I used about 3/4 of a larger size apple. I love apples. And then grapes are Terry's favorite, so I had a whole cup in there. Anything for Terry. And then I realized when I picked up my chickpeas, I probably should have stuck them in there first, but it's okay. I stuck them in there anyway because it was delicious. And you'll see, I used a fork in a little while and mashed some up. You don't have to mash them. I just like some that way. 2 tablespoons of raisins. It adds a little bit of sweetness. And instead of, let's see, I wanted you to see, it's only raisins, guys. Nothing but organic raisins. Make sure your dried fruit is only fruit. In this one, I'm going to use hummus, the fat-free one. If you don't, I can only find this where I live at Whole Foods. If you can't find a fat-free hummus, make your hummus yourself. It's so easy. Chickpeas, garlic, lemon juice, little bit of low-sodium veggie broth, and you're all set. I usually like to use about 2 tablespoons of the hummus instead of vegan mayo. Fresh cracked pepper for my sweetie. And then I realized at that moment I hadn't crushed any of my chickpeas. So now I'm doing it. And again, I made this not so chicken salad for you all before. We put them in pitas. Same exact stuff, except for this one we're gonna make as a tapa. So Terry and I decided to put these on cucumbers, and with the crispy celery, the cucumbers, the apples, it was so crisp and refreshing, just divine. If you'd like, you could also put them on little pita chips. If you're having a little function or a party at your house, you could also put them on fresh corn tortillas. There's so many things you could do. But I do like to keep balance when Terry and I are eating. 50% starch, 50% non-starch. So for this, we had plenty of starch with the chickpeas and plenty of natural sugar with the fruit. So I just went ahead and went with the cucumber. And it was magnificent, and how pretty. On top of these cucumbers, I put a little slice of tomato because it was a garnish on top. My mom would be so proud. She loves pretty plates. She always says, we eat with our eyes first. And she is absolutely correct. When it looks good, and then taste good and you crunch too, wow. On this one, I had forgot to put the rosemary in as well. So you know what I did? I just sprinkled the rosemary right on top, and then I had my rosemary. I would recommend putting 2 teaspoons of rosemary in the recipe prior to, but if you forget, don't fret, just sprinkle on top. And look at those, how delicious. Aren't they pretty? And now the treat of the day. We made ceviche and it was so good. So I used a 14.1 ounce can of hearts of palm. As you know, I don't like the salt for Terry, so I drained them and rinsed them really, really good. Then I just chopped the hearts of palm in lieu of, obviously, fish, or sometimes people put shrimp in ceviche. So that was my fish or shrimp, whatever you want it to be. That's the fun part about using hearts of palm. For Terry and I, we called it shrimp because Terry is an ex-shrimp lover. So with that, I put some more of my fresh Roma tomatoes. They were delicious. All the recipes are in the description box for you. Cucumber, so nice and crisp. Aren't those bowls cute? And then just a little bit of onion for a little bit of that onion flavor. And then I did use the juice of some lime because back in the day when we ate ceviche with fish or shrimp, it actually gets cooked by the lime juice or vinegar, whichever, but it really cooked the shrimp. So that was delicious. And of course, my famous pickled diced jalapenos. The truth is, jalapenos burn my hands, and I'm a little bit of a wimp when it comes to hot stuff. Even though those say hot, the pickling part makes it a little bit easier to take. And then I used a little bit of my fresh cilantro. You do not have to use that if you don't like, but it adds a little bit. You could always use parsley, and yep, you guessed it, fresh black pepper for my sweetie. And then for this, you don't have to do this, but I did add a little bit of this garlic cilantro balsamic vinegar because I was just at Olive and Grape and I got really excited when I saw it. So it actually added a nice flavor, but you don't need balsamic vinegar, or you could just use a regular balsamic. It's not needed. It was just something extra I wanted to try. I happened to be at the store and it was there. I put it in the fridge and I let it sit for a while. While it sat, I made homemade corn tortillas. You all know from watching me that I love these corn tortillas from Trader Joe's. Why do I love them? Because they're white corn, water, and lime. Perfect. So what I do is I just take the corn tortillas, however many I like, and I chop them up on my board. I usually cut them into 6 triangles. That works really great for Terry and I. You can make them 350 degrees. I use a convection oven, so maybe if you don't, 375, 10 minutes. It's foolproof. It works every time. So I cut them into triangles. I put them on the pan. No parchment paper. Nothing's needed. Just throw them on there. It doesn't have to be pretty. Then what I thought, you know what? I'm using this for my ceviche. So let me take a few of these tortillas and use some more of this garlic and cilantro balsamic. Again, not needed, but it was really fun. And I always like trying different stuff. So I thought, what the heck? If you don't have garlic and balsamic, don't use it. Or garlic and cilantro balsamic. But it was kind of fun and it was like painting. So I just put a few on there. I did it, and I got to tell you, they were actually a little bit sweet. Terry and I were really impressed and very happy. You could also use a regular balsamic if you wanted to try this, or you could spread some beautiful lime juice on there. One of our viewers had given me that tip, and I gotta tell you, they were delicious. You could put anything on there. You could sprinkle seasoning if you like. You could even sprinkle a little bit of water on there so that the seasoning sticks, and then just sprinkle whatever seasoning you like on top of your tortillas. Again, like I said, I do mine 350 degrees, convection oven for 10 minutes, and they come out really crispy and perfect. Now we get to plate up our beautiful ceviche with our corn tortillas. This was the first time Terry and I had ever made this, and we loved it. So, great invention, really impressed. And they came out really pretty. So if you're having tapas with your sweetie or your friends, enjoy some of the ceviche. Little chip, isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. Look at that. Who wouldn't want to eat it? How healthy and delicious. And here's our tapas, all done, beautiful. We had a great day together. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.